Welcome to this Pro South PSP Network broadcast, live stream broadcast of tonight's swim duel between the Dickinson Midgets, the Williston Coyotes, and your Minot Magicians. Special guest tonight to kick off the show is the Magi Drumline. Once again, the Magi Drumline under the direction of Mr. Evan Myers. A great big thank you to Evan Myers and the Magi Drumline for kicking off this final duel at the Magic City campus for the 2020-2021 season. I'm your host, Eric Schaefer, and this is the PSP.network live stream broadcast of Minot High Swimming. The Magi are hosting the Williston Coyotes and the Dickinson Midgets in a tri-duel. So scoring will be kept as a duel between Minot High and Williston, a duel between Minot High and Dickinson, and a duel between Dickinson and Williston. We will be getting started shortly. I'm sure we'll have a national anthem. We've got about 5 minutes till start time. This is traditionally also, this last meet of the season is traditionally senior night. We did celebrate the seniors at the first meet this season because we weren't sure, or they weren't sure what was going to happen with COVID and things like that, so they wanted to make sure they got those kids recognized. But they do have some stuff on the board here that you're seeing scroll through prior to the meet. So we'll be getting started with the swimming probably in 5 to 6 minutes.
I didn't sign any waiver for it. You know how to forge my signature.
So prior to that, we'd like to thank some sponsors. Planet Pizza has been proudly serving the Magic City for over 20 years. You can call them now at 701-852-1700 and try their Blue Buffalo Pizza or their chicken wings. You will not be disappointed. Planet Pizza, it's out of this world. Here's Coach Soper. Looks like it's Magi swimmer Ryan Hubbard, his mother's birthday today. Teams are now lining up for the national anthem. You see the Minot Magicians taking their position alongside the starting blocks.
For century because they got
You might hear some talking in the background. That's basketball coach Dean Winchesky speaking with activities director Mitch Lundy. We've asked Dean to use his whisper voice, and I think he is. He just doesn't realize it. Looks like that might be Kaylin Hill singing the national anthem for us tonight.
We're going to have our national anthem sung by our junior Minot High swimmer, Kaylin
Wonderful job by Kaylin Hill, a junior on this swim team, in his performance of tonight's national anthem. Now we'll let the kids get back to get ready to swim.
All right. So usually this meet is our senior night, but
here's Peyton Barch.
Senior night at our first home meet. So we're going to do one last thing to recognize our seniors. So when I say go, I'm going to have everyone to stomp their feet, and I'm going to list off the names of each senior, and we're going to clap once after I say their name. Ready, go. Josh Bowen, Tyler Hill, Will Thomas, Dominic Gilbert, Helen Anderson, Jacob Hunt, Luke Peterson, Tyler Sherlock, Andrew Swerda, Carter Thomas. All right, thank you guys.
A lot of action going on here pre-meet tonight. With our senior recognition, once again with Peyton Barch honoring the seniors. This is their last home meet tonight. Mrs. Hubbard's birthday celebration. And now it's time for some swimming. We will start tonight's meet with the 200 medley relay. We will have 2 heats of the relay this evening. Tonight's 200 medley relay is sponsored by the UPS store. It is located on South Broadway in Minot and is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Saturdays, 8:30 to 3 o'clock. The UPS store is located in the Marketplace Foods Plaza for all your packing and shipping needs. got the Heat 1 swimmers making their way to the blocks. In Heat 1, Lane 2 will be Magicians G, Luke Peterson, Jamison Donahoe, Logan Greenlee, and David McConville. Lane 3 is Magicians E, Alex Ricks, Carter Withers, Chance Thompson, Garth Shanklin. Lane 4 is Magicians C, Carter Larson, Logan Hill, Oliver Rungen, and Levi Von Bokern. Apologize for the shoddy camera work there, just trying to get it set up so we can see more of the pool during the swimming. Once again, lane 1 is on the bottom. In lane 2 is Magicians G, that's Luke Peterson. Lane 3 is Magicians E, that's Alex Ricks. Then Magicians C is Carter Larson in lane 4. Lane 5 is Magicians D, Lawson Shanklin in the pool. Lane 6, Magicians F, Brian Sherlock in the pool. And lane 7 is Dickinson C, that's Elliot Mertz in the pool. Finishing up the backstroke portion of this medley relay, now entering the pool in lane 4 for the Magicians is Logan Hill. Our second swimmers from bottom to top. Lane 2 will be Jamison Donahoe. Lane 3, Carter Withers. Lane 4, again, Logan Hill. Lane 5, Griffin Osborne. Lane 6, Maroney Hale. And lane 7 for Dickinson, Jackson Metcalf. In lane 4, that's Logan Hill finishing up his breaststroke leg. He'll be touching in. Entering the pool in lane 4 will be Oliver Rungen. He'll be swimming the butterfly. That team, the next swimmers will all be doing the butterfly. Now in the pool in lane 5 for the Magicians is Micah Beers. Entering the pool in lane 2 for the Magicians is Logan Greenlee. In lane 3 will be Chance Thompson. In lane 6 will be Kellen Anderson. And for Dickinson in lane 7 will be Jacob Rude. Rungen finishing up his butterfly now in the pool. For the last stroke, the freestyle, is Levi Von Bokern in lane 4. Into the pool in lane 5 for the Magicians is Gannon Cowper. Entering the pool in lane 3 for the Magicians is Garth Shanklin. Von Bokern finishes up in lane 4 for Team C with a time of 1:51.32. Now in the pool in lane 6 is Kellen Anderson. In lane 7 for Dickinson coming up will be Asher Ellerkamp. Excuse me, in lane 6, that's Aiden Stewart from Minot High. In lane 2 is David McConville. In lane 3, once again, is Garth Shanklin as he finishes up. Finishing up out in lane 6 is Aiden Stewart. Now entering the pool in lane 7 for Dickinson is Asher Ellerkamp. Finishing up in lane 2 for the Magicians is David McConville. He's got about 10 yards left. I was watching some track meets with my son over the weekend, so meters is stuck in my head, so I apologize. Here we go. There's Asher Ellerkamp with a real strong finish out in lane 7 for Dickinson. After he touches, we'll get you a look at the board for the times. The teams of this race. Winner of this heat in lane 4 is a team from Minot. That's Carter, consisting of Carter Larson, Logan Hill, a pair of 8th graders, and then a pair of sophomores, Oliver Rungen and Levi Von Bokern. Next up is Heat 2. In lane 2 is Dickinson B, David Haig, John Rude, Alexander Keller, and Shane Janis. Lane 3 is Minot A, Dominic Yoder, Josh Bowen, Peyton Birch, and Grant Schaefer. Lane 4 is Williston, Caleb Osborne, Colden Kringen, Camden Ekblad Lundby, and Tyler Jorgensen. Lane 5 is Dickinson A, Trent Irwin, Zachary Kogel, Casey Toohey, and Caden Barth. Lane 6 is Magicians B, Kaylin Hill, Alex Prestwich, Jackson Ranke, and Alex King. And lane 7 for Williston is Adam March, Hunter Hart, Nathan Hill, and Ryder Björkness. Here's your whistle for Heat 2 of the 200-yard medley relay. Pool record for this relay is 139.23. Currently in the pool, swimming the backstroke. In lane 2 from Dickinson, Davin Haig. In lane 3 for Minot, Dominic Yoder. Lane 4 for Williston, Caleb Osborne. Lane 5 for Dickinson, Trent Irwin. Lane 6 for Minot, Kalen Hill. And lane 7 for Williston, Adam March. Yoder off to a very strong start for this relay. These 4 young men may be trying for that pool record today. We'll see how it goes. Now into the pool, swimming the breaststroke will be Josh Bowen. Entering the pool, the rest of the lanes. In lane 2 will be John Rude. Lane 4 is Colden Kring. In lane 5, Zachary Kogel. Lane 6, Alex Prestwich. And lane 7 is Hunter Hart. Bowen makes the turn. He's on his final 25 yards of this medley relay. When he makes the exchange, that'll be Peyton Barch to swim the butterfly. Here goes Barch. He is in the pool. Entering the pool in the rest of the lanes. In lane 2 will be Alexander Keller. Lane 4 will be Camden Ekblad Lundby. Lane 5, Casey Toohey. Lane 6, Jackson Ranke. And lane 7, Nathan Hill. Barch coming in at the end of his butterfly. He'll be touching in. That'll be Grant Schaefer entering the pool. There goes Grant right into the pool now. He has 50 yards to go. The rest of the swimmers in the pool. Lane 2, Shane Janis. Lane 3 is Grant Schaefer. Lane 4 is Tyler Jorgensen. Lane 5, Caden Barth. Lane 6, Alex King. And lane 7, Ryder Bjerknes. Here comes Schaefer finishing up. Let's see, it's going to be very close. He touches with a team time of 139.81. Just off the pool record of 139.23. A very strong race by those 4 young men. We'll look at the board here for the times of the rest of the teams as they finish up. So in this heat, we had Minot A at 139.81. Then we had Minot B at 146.62. Then we had Williston at 150.02. Then Dickinson at 2 minutes, 0.26 seconds. Then it was Williston's B at 2:14.48 and Dickinson's B at 2:17.20. Next race in the pool will be the 200-yard freestyle. We will have 2 heats of the 200-yard freestyle. State qualifying time is 2 minutes, 5.76 seconds. In Heat 1, Lane 1 will be Dickinson's Mason Piatz. In Lane 2 is Minot's Jacob Height. Lane 3 is Minot's Justin Moldenauer. Lane 4 is Minot's Tyler Hills. Lane 5 is Williston's Hunter Hart. Lane 6 is Williston's Tater Jones. And Lane 7 is Minot's Josh Bowen. Bowen is swimming this as an exhibition, as are Jones, Height, and Moldenauer. That means their times will not count towards the dual scoring. Tyler Hills with a seed time of 2 minutes, 6.62 seconds. Again, state qualifying is 2:05.76. He could punch his ticket possibly to the state meet in the 200-yard freestyle today. Once again, Lane 1, Piatz of Dickinson. Lane 2, Height of Minot. Lane 3, Moldenauer of Minot. Lane 4, Hills of Minot. Lane 5, Hart of Williston. Lane 6, Jones of Williston. And Lane 7, Bowen of Minot. Once again, Lane 1 is at the bottom of your screen. Lane 8 at the top. Today's 200-yard freestyle will be brought to you by Tires Plus. When shopping for tires, shop Tires Plus. All brands under one roof with the guaranteed lowest prices and their service after the sale with the Tires Plus plan. You can't go wrong with Tires Plus. Visit them online at TiresPlusND.com. All right, looks like we've got a leader out in lane 6. That is Tater Jones of Williston. Then we have Tyler Hills making the turn. Out in lane 7, don't adjust your sets. That is Josh Bowen. He is swimming a breaststroke for this 200 yards. That is not a high school event in North Dakota. I think he's trying to post a time maybe for a upcoming sectional meet. or possibly for some college coaches. So he is swimming this event as a breaststroke. Again, that's why he is with the exhibition. So making the turn, 50 yards to go. Very close between Tater Jones at 133.80 and Tyler Hills at 134.23. I know both of these young men would love to hit that state qualifying mark of 205.76. Jones slightly ahead at the last turn, and they'll bring these last 25 yards home. It's going to be very close. Both boys are working really tough here. We're going to have Jones touching with a time of 205.47. That does meet the qualifying standard, followed by Tyler Hills at 206.35, just a tad off of that qualifying time. Finishing up in third will be Hunter Hart of Williston with a time of 219.14. We have Bowen finishing up that 200 breaststroke in 223.84. And now we have here in lane 3 finishing up is that's Justin Moldenauer of Minot at 232.81. Then Mason Piatz of Dickinson at 236.20. And we will have Jacob Height finishing up here in lane 2. Height finishes with a time of 2:55.47. One of our seniors recognized earlier this evening. There's a look at the board. Once again, those times. Jones, followed by Hills, then Hart, then Moldenauer, then Piatz, and Height. This is Heat 2 of the 200-yard freestyle. 5 swimmers in this heat. In lane 3 from Minot is Alex Moe. In lane 4 from Williston is Ethan Babcock. In lane 5 from Dickinson, Mason Beck. Lane 6 from Minot, Will Thomas. In lane 7 from Williston, Tyler Jorgensen. That's Beck from Dickinson off to a nice start. The other 4 swimmers are stroke for stroke, about a half body length behind Mason. Beck at 26.24 at the first turn, followed by Jorgensen at 27.16, Thomas at 27.45, Babcock at 27.62, and Moe at 27.80. About a body length for Mason Beck over the field now, and the rest of the field, as you can tell by those times, are stroke for stroke, and as you can see on your screen. Coming in at 100 yards, it's Mason Beck at 56.24. Followed very closely by Alex Moe at 58.45, then Ethan Babcock at 58.58. Then Tyler Jorgensen at 58.77, and Will Thomas at 58.84.
Jake, 5122D, forward, 1 somersault.
Beck continues to glide through this 200-yard freestyle. He's at 125.95, 3/4 of the way through. Then we'll have Alex Moe at 129.88, followed by Ethan Babcock at 130.78. Then it's Jorgensen at 131.27 and Thomas at 131.75. Mason Beck finishing up the 200-yard freestyle. He'll be in the high 150s, mid 150s. Let's see here. 155.13 for Mason Beck in this 200-yard freestyle. Next will be Ethan Babcock just out touching Alex Moe of Minot. Babcock at 2 minutes, 0.96, and Moe at 2 minutes, 1.01 seconds. Then it was Jorgensen at 2 minutes, 1.27 seconds, and then Will Thomas at 2:04.52. All of those are state qualifying times for those young men. And a very tight race. Very tight race with those 4 swimmers behind Mr. Beck. The diving portion of the meet has started. You may be able to see that in the distance, certainly hear it in the distance. You'll hear the announcements of the dives as well as the boards as those young gentlemen launch themselves through the air and into the pool.
Down in 5
I believe there is a Facebook live stream broadcast of the diving portion on the Minot High Boys Swimming Facebook page. Next event in the pool will be the 200-yard individual medley. State qualifying time of 2 minutes, 23.97 seconds. We will have 2 heats today. In Heat 1 in Lane 2 of Dickinson, 8th grader Alexander Keller. Lane 3 from Minot, a sophomore, Caden Dodds. Lane 4 from Minot, 8th grader Logan Hill. And Lane 5 from Minot, a junior, Trevor Ricks.
5.5.
Heat 1 of the individual medley is on the blocks. The 200-yard individual medley is sponsored by the Beaupre Law Firm. They're connected to our community for your estate planning and business law attorney needs. Contact Beaupre Law Firm. Thank you for sponsoring the 200-yard individual medley. Once again, in Lane 2 is Alexander Keller of Dickinson. Lane 3 is Caden Dodds of Minot. Lane 4 is Logan Hill of Minot. And Lane 5 is Trevor Ricks of Minot. Thanks, Ken. Mr. Disher just came up to make sure I had the correct program. So thank you to him for providing that.
2-1 forward, 1 somersault, half twist or 1.7.
Speaking of programs, the one that was posted on the PSP network today is not the updated program, but still a good, you can still use that to follow along and maybe make the changes as we go through the lanes for each race. Just coming into the pool area is Magi strength coach Brian Kraler. I know he does a lot of work with these boys in their morning practices, so it's nice to see Coach Kraler attending and rooting these boys on. After the breaststroke portion, just the freestyle left, we have Logan Hill at 143.63, followed by Trevor Ricks at 150.67. Then we'll have Caden Dodds at 157.66. Looks like we just have those 3 swimmers in the pool. Logan Hill finishing up. Oh, I'm sorry. Lane 2, we had Alexander Keller at 207.77. Logan Hill finishes up his 200-yard medley, individual medley, in 215.11. Followed then by Trevor Ricks at 223.81. Next in, we will have Caden Dodds at 231.97. And then we'll have Alexander Keller finishing up here in lane 2 with a time of 2:44.33. We'll get you a look at the board. For the Heat 1, it's the 200-yard individual medley. State qualifying time standard is 2:23.97. Looks like we had Logan Hill, who I believe had already qualified in this event, and Trevor Ricks meeting that standard today at 2:23.81. Congratulations to Trevor. All right, on the blocks is Heat 2 of the 200-yard individual medley. Once again, this race is brought to you by the Beaupre Law Firm for estate planning and business law attorneys here in Minot. In lane 2 is Trent Irwin of Dickinson. Lane 3 is Dominic Yoder of Minot. Lane 4 is Colton Kringen of Williston. Lane 5 is Taven Wilson of Dickinson. Lane 6 is Ryan Hubbard of Minot. And lane 7 is Camden Ekblad Lundy of Williston.
5-3-3-1.
As we've witnessed most of the year when these two boys are in the pool swimming this race, Dominic Yoder in lane 3 and Colton Kringen in lane 4, they're going to be swimming almost stroke for stroke. Now that we're into the backstroke, you might see Dominic take just a slight lead, as this event is his strength. and Mr. Kringen is a very strong breaststroker. So he might close that gap back that Dominic, any gap that Dominic creates here. And then in the freestyle, it's anybody's race. So we'll be halfway through here with Dominic Yoder in lane 3, touching and making the transfer into the breaststroke at 57.7, followed by Colden Kringen of Williston at 58.83. Then it's Ryan Hubbard at 101.29. Then Taven Wilson of Dickinson at 104.75, and Trent Irwin of Dickinson at 108.62. Very strong first half of the breaststroke for Dominic Yoder. And a strong stroke for Colden Kringen as well. He has cut into that lead a little bit. Yoder makes the turn at 133.24, followed by Kringen at 134.19. They're on to the freestyle. See them making their final turn here on the right-hand side of your screen. Yoder will be finishing up the twin individual medley relay brought to you by the Beaupre Law Firm in 2 minutes, 0.71 seconds, followed by Kringen at 2:03.33. Very strong time for Dominic, yet not his season best, which was 2 minutes, 0.15 seconds. Very strong swim, right where you want to be coming up at the end of the season. We'll get a look at the board for this second heat of the 200-yard individual medley. You can see Yoder at 2 minutes, 0.71, followed by Kringen at 2:03.33. Then it was Hubbard at 2:11.74. Then we have Wilson of Dickinson at 2:21.46, Ekblad Lundby at 2:21.68, and Trent Irwin at 2:28.61. Next event of the pool is the 50-yard freestyle. There will be 6 heats of this 50-yard freestyle. Then we will take a 10 to 15 minute break to concentrate on the diving. Heat 1 of the 50-yard freestyle. In lane 3 is Maroney Hale of Minot. Lane 4 is Luke Peterson of Minot. Lane 5 is Ryder Björknes of Williston. And lane 6 is Minot's Carter Withers. This 50 freestyle is brought to you by Arbo Photography. They are the leader in game photo coverage and senior pictures. The proof is in the gallery. You can find Arbo Photography on Facebook and Instagram, or online at arbophotography.com. That's ARBAUT photography.com. This first seat of the 50 freestyle has finished up. We have Luke Peterson at 29.57, followed by Maroney Hale at 30.14. Then it's Ryder Björknes at 30.99 and Carter Withers at 33.69. There's your Heat 1 times and places for the 50-yard freestyle. So we have a diver on the board that will pause until he dives. So we'll get a look at him. Not sure who it is. Heat 2, the 50-yard freestyle, sponsored by Arbo Photography. We have in lane 2, Hunter Peterson of Dickinson. Lane 3 is Tyler Sherlock of Minot. Lane 4, John Root of Dickinson. Lane 5, Shane Janis of Dickinson. Lane 6 is Briar Samuelson of Minot. And lane 7 is Brian Sherlock of Minot. All right, finishing up Heat 2 of the 50-yard freestyle is John Rood in 28.57, followed by Hunter Peterson of Dickinson at 29.20. Then it was Briar Samuelson at 29.44, Brian Sherlock at 30.28, and Shane Janis at 30.31. I may have missed Tyler Sherlock's time in there at 29.20 in second place. I believe I said Hunter Peterson. There's a look at the board for Heat 2 of the 50-yard freestyle. This is Heat 3 of the 50-yard freestyle, brought to you by Arbol Photography. Lane 3, Chance Thompson of Minot. Lane 4, Aiden Rothstein of Dickinson. Lane 4, that was Lane 3. Lane 4 is Garth Shanklin of Minot. Lane 5 is Lawson Shanklin of Minot. Lane 6 is Caden Barth of Dickinson. Lane 7 is Brandon Shabbat of Minot. We have the Shanklin twins in this heat. Looks like we will have very tight race. Out in lane 6, it's Caden Barth of Dickinson in 27 seconds flat, followed by Garth Shanklin at 27:35. Then it was Rothstein of Dickinson at 27:36, followed by Shabbat of Minot at 28:31. Then Lawson Shanklin at 28.55, and Chance Thompson of Minot at 29.43. Looks like Lawson's going to have to bring in the garbage can tonight when they get home, with Garth winning this race. There's a look at the board for Heat 3. Sorry about that, of the 50-yard freestyle. Heat 4, the 50-yard freestyle, is on the blocks. Lane 1 is Minot's Gannon Cowper. Lane 2, Minot's Jamison Donahoe. Lane 3, Minot's Andrew Swartout. Lane 5, Minot's Tristan Lees. Lane 6 is Hunter Haugen of Williston. And Lane 7 is Kellen Anderson of Minot. Finishing up strong in lane 4, that is Swartout of Minot. He will be touching in 24.5, followed by Lays of Minot at 24.92. Then it's Donahoe at 26.16, Cowper at 26.49. Then Anderson at 26.97, and Hunter Haugen of Wilson at 27.01. There's your look at the final times of Heat 4 for the 50-yard freestyle. We have 2 heats remaining of the Arbol Photography sponsored 50-yard freestyle. State qualifying time for this race is 25.59. Looks like we had 2 swimmers in this heat. Swartout and Lays both meet that standard. They may already have this here. Let's see if I can... yes, they did. But it's nice to see them meet those times again. So this is Heat 4, 50-yard freestyle. All swimmers from Minot. And they're in the pool. In lane 2 is Carter Larson. Lane 3, Levi Von Boker. Lane 4, Jackson Ranke. Lane 5, Griffin Osborne. Lane 6, Alex Prestwich. And lane 7, Carter Thomas. We have Ranke in 4, just a slight lead. Now we've got lane 5 swimmer Osborne. It's going to be Ranke at 23.96, followed by Osborne at 24 flat. Then it's Prestwich at 24.19, Carter Larson at 24.50, Von Bokern at 24.54, and Carter Thomas at 25.54. Very tight race between those 5 swimmers out there. Excuse me, those 6 swimmers. There's a look at the board. Here is the final heat of the 50-yard freestyle. In lane 2, Aiden Rothstein, Dickinson. Lane 3, Grant Schaefer of Minot. Lane 4, Ethan Babcock of Williston. Lane 5, Caden Barth of Dickinson. Lane 6, Alex Prestwich of Minot. And lane 7, Caleb Osborne of Williston. Looks like we had a misprint in the program. That was Alex King out in lane 6 for Minot. He touched with a time of 22.58, followed by Schaefer at 23.08. Then it was Isaiah Shug at 26.44. Then we had Kogel of Dickinson at 27.05 and Nathan Hill of Williston at 27.23.
401C, inward side, top 1.4.
All right, now is the time where we take a break from swimming and concentrate on the diving. I'll try and figure out where we're at on the diver schedule. I'll let you know where you can follow along. My updated program wasn't very updated for that race.
Dawson, 403C, inward, 1.5 somersault, top 2.2.
Let's see where we're at on the diving here. Looks like the next diver will be Dawson Wilson of Dickinson. We have a promposal here this evening. Where are we at here? That is Tyler Hills asking his date. Michael Walter to be his date for prom. We'll get back to some diving here as soon as our next diver hits the board.
Beautiful start at 100 butterfly at 5:45. 100 butterfly.
8 minutes till the start of the next race. Our divers are still active over on the boards.
104C, forward, 2 somersault, top 2.2.
Did you see that? Tyler?
Here we go. There is
Okay. 2 to 8, 1 somersault, straight.
this might be David Haig of Dickinson on the board. Very good effort. Five, 4, and 4.5. That was Jacob Root of Dickinson, excuse me. Now on the board will be Aiden Stewart of Minot. Did not hear the dive he was performing. Just a little under vertical there for Aiden. Let's see what the judges think. 4.5, 5, and 4.5 for Aiden on that day. Next diver up will be, this will be David Haig of Dickinson. Two and 2 for David on that dive from the judges. This is Ty Ross of Minot. Very nice looking dive from Ty. See what the judges think. 7, 6.5, and 7 for Ty on that dive. Next up on the board will be Matt Cobb of Williston. Matt is an 8th grader. Good effort by Matt. See what the judges think. 4, 4, and 4. Diving parlance, that's known as a diving bingo, and all 3 judges score the same. Now on the board is Dawson Wilson of Dickinson, where we started our diving coverage. Very nice dive by Dawson. A 7.5, a 7, and a 7.5 for Dawson. Next up is Jaron Coombs of Minot. Coming into this, top scores for the season for Jaron was 248.8, and Dawson Wilson of Dickinson was 247.6. So these 2 young men are very, very close in skill level and dive execution. This is Jaron Coombs of Minot. Another nice dive. Jaron looks to be a 6.5, a 6.5, and a 6.5. Here's your 6.5 bingo for Jaron Coombs on that last dive for him. Next up is Williston's Sean Allen. Let's see what the judges think of Sean's dive. Looks like his teammates are appreciative of his efforts. top is Cody Kranz of Minot. Good effort by Cody. Launched himself up well. A 6, a 5, and a 6. Board is Jacob Rude. That's where we started our diving coverage. I think we saw Dawson earlier between a couple 50-yard freestyles. 3.5 bingo for Jacob on his last dive. Next on the board is Minot's Aiden Stewart. Looks like we will start with the swimming again. They said we'll start at 5:45, and it is now 5:45. This will be the 100-yard butterfly, heat 1 of 2. In lane 1 is Alexander Keller of Dickinson. Lane 2, Lawson Shanklin of Minot. Lane 3, Kalen Hill of Minot. Lane 4, Josh Bowen of Minot. Lane 5, Minot's Oliver Rungan. Lane 6, Trevor Ricks of Minot. Lane 7 is Wilson's Isaiah Shug. And lane 8 is Minot's Carter Larson. 4 laps for the 100-yard butterfly. State qualifying time standard is 1 minute, 3.52 seconds. 100-yard butterfly is brought to you by Magic City Inspections. It is a locally owned company committed to providing exceptional inspection services to ensure you are ready to take the next step in your home ownership. You can find them online at minotinspections.com. Coming in the final stretch, looks like we will have our lane 5 swimmer. That is Oliver Rungan. Rungan touching in with a time of 45, followed by Josh Bowen at 58.81. Then it's Kalen Hill at 101.77. Trevor Ricks 102.54. Carter Larson 102.71. Lawson Shanklin of 105.65. And Isaiah Shug at 107.43. State qualifying standard for that race was 103.52. Looks like we had Larson, Ricks, Rungan, Bowen, and Kalen Hill all meet that standard. Next up is Heat 2 of the 100-yard butterfly. Heat 2 swimmers. In lane 2 is Dickinson's Casey Toohey. Lane 3 is Minot's Peyton March. Lane 4 is Williston's Camden Ekblad Lundby. Lane 5 is Dickinson's Dawson Wilson. In lane 6 is Minot's Jackson Ranky, waiting for Ty Ross to complete his dive. Very smooth dive there by Ty. See what his scores are. 6.5, 6.5, and a 6.5. Once again, Heat 2, the 100-yard butterfly. Brought to you by Magic City Inspections. Lane 2 is Toohey of Dickinson. Lane 3 is Barch of Minot. Lane 4, Ekblad Lundby of Williston. Lane 5, Wilson of Dickinson. And Lane 6, Ranky of Minot. We got Dawson Wilson pulling double duty on the diving boards and in the pool today. I know we saw Aiden Stewart doing the same earlier from Minot. At the halfway point, it looks like we will have Jackson Ranky at 26.28, followed by Peyton Barch at 26.32. Then it's Dawson Wilson at 27.90, Ekblad Lundby at 27.95, and Toohey at 29.45. Stroke for stroke for Barch and Ranky in lanes 3 and 6. It's going to be a very tight race. Between those two coming in for this final of the 100-yard butterfly, it's going to be the timing of their strokes. It will be Ranke at 57.28. Closely behind is Barch at 57.36. Then it's Wilson at 101.51. Ekblad Lundby at 102.66, and Tui at 107.25. Those first four swimmers do meet the state qualifying standard. Very good swims by both Ranke and Barch in those mid-57s. Next race in the pool will be the 100-yard freestyle. We will have 4 heats, and that will be followed by the 500-yard freestyle, and we will have 3 heats of that race. Our 500 freestyle will be brought to you by CleanTech. You can get your COVID-19 deep cleaning services for your home or business with CleanTech. This is heat 1 of 4 of the 100-yard freestyle. Lane 2, Minot's David McConville. Lane 3, Dickinson's Elliot Mertz. Lane 4 is Dickinson's Asher Ellerkamp. Lane 3 is Minot's Logan Greenlee. And Lane 6 is Minot's Carter Withers. State qualifying standard for the 100-yard freestyle is 57.01 seconds. Halfway point, it was Ellerkamp at 30.52, followed by Greenlee at 35.74, then Withers at 38.04, Mertz 39.54, and McConville at 46.45. Finishing up heat 1 of the 100-yard freestyle is Asher Ellerkamp with a time of 104.41. Very nice race for Asher. He is a 7th grader. Followed by Logan Greenlee of Minot at 116.86, then Withers of Minot at 119.44, Mertz of Dickinson at 120.85, and then we'll have McConville here in lane 2 finishing up shortly. Mertz of Dickinson was also a 7th grader. The 3 Minot swimmers are all freshmen in their first year of swimming for the high school team. And there we go, David McConville finishing up in 1:44.68. We'll get you a look at the board before heat 2 of the 100-yard freestyle. Looks like another bingo over in the diving section. This is heat 2, lane 2, Tyler Sherlock. Lane 3, Justin Moldenauer. Lane 4, Jackson Metcalf. Lane 5, Brandon Shabbat. Lane 6, Hunter Peterson. And lane 7, Mason Piatz of Dickinson. Peterson and Metcalf are also Dickinson swimmers. Heat 2, 100-yard freestyle in the pool. This race is brought to you again by CleanTech. This proactive deep cleaning service includes disinfecting and sanitizing. That is their COVID-19 deep cleaning services. And don't forget about CleanTech's 24/7 disaster response and restoration services. You can visit them online at cleantechllc.us. That's CleanTech, coming to the rescue and restoration since 1992. At the halfway point, we have Shabbat of Minot at 30.25, then Metcalf of Dickinson at 31.15, Moldenauer of Minot at 31.84, Sherlock of Minot at 32.17, Piatz of Dickinson at 33.92. Our lane 6 swimmer, Hunter Peterson, is a healthy scratch. Finishing up heat 2 of the 100-yard freestyle in lane 5 for Minot will be Brandon Shabbat at 103.52. Very close to that time of Asher Ellerkamp in the first heat. Then we have Jackson Metcalf at 105.91, Moldenauer at 107.73. Then Tyler Sherlock at 110.51. Get you a look at the board. You heard the whistle for heat 3. The second whistle. Then it was Piatz after Sherlock. This is Heat 3, the 100-yard freestyle. Lane 2 from Williston, Tater Jones. Lane 3 from Minot, Andrew Swartout. Lane 4 from Minot, Tristan Lays. Lane 5 from Minot, Will Thomas. And lane 7 from Minot, Garth Shanklin. Our lanes 2 through 5 swimmers are very close. Looks like we're going to have our lane 5 swimmer, Will Thomas, in 26:26, followed by Tristan Lays at 26:39. Then it's then it's Jones of Wilson at 27:15, followed by Swartout of Minot at 27:27, and then Garth Shanklin at 29:53. But an arm length lead for Will Thomas out in lane 5. Coming strong in lane 4 is Tristan Lays. Looks like it will be Will Thomas in this heat at 54.84, followed by Lays at 55.17. Then it's Swartout at 55.77, Jones at 57.47, and Shanklin at 101.30. Here's a look at your board for Heat 3, the 100-yard freestyle. Heat 4 is at the blocks. Our Heat 4 swimmers in lane 2, Aiden Rothstein of Dickinson. Lane 3 is Grant Schaefer of Minot. Lane 4, Ethan Babcock of Williston. Lane 5, Caden Barth of Dickinson. Lane 6, Alex Prestwich of Minot. And lane 7, Caleb Osborne of Williston. In the 50 freestyle, we had our Alexes mixed up. Lane 6, where was Alex King in that race? This race, it's Alex Prestwich. 100-yard freestyle, Heat 4 of 4. And they're in the pool. Heat 2, Rothstein of Dickinson. Lane 3, Schaefer of Minot. Lane 4, Babcock of Williston. Lane 5, Barth of Dickinson. Lane 6, Prestwich of Minot. And lane 7 is Osborne of Williston. Very strong start for Grant Schaefer in lane 3. Body length lead after the first turn. He's coming into the halfway point. He'll make his turn with a split of 23.45, followed by Prestwich at 25.67. Then it's Osborne of Williston at 26.95, followed by Babcock at 27.24, Barth at 28.04, and Rothstein at 30.09. Schaefer makes his final turn and is on the home stretch. About halfway through that last 25 yards. Grant Schaefer finishing in with a time of 49.48 for this 100-yard freestyle. Then it's Alex Prestwich at 53.73. Then we have Babcock at 56.11, Osborne at 57.11, Barth 58.44, and Rothstein at 103.31. Here's a look at the board for the final heat of the 100-yard freestyle. Brought to you by CleanTech LLC. Next race in the pool will be the 500-yard freestyle.
Sean, 301C, Riverside, Tuck,
1.6. So look at one of our Williston divers. That was Sean Allen of Williston. That concludes the diving portion of the meet. Heat 1 of 3 for the 500-yard freestyle. In the pool in Heat 1, 500-yard freestyle, Lane 1 from Minot, Luke Peterson. Lane 2 from Minot, Kellen Anderson. Lane 3 from Minot, Jacob Height. Lane 4 is Williston's Nathan Hill. Lane 5 is Minot's Micah Beers. Lane 6 is Minot's Alex Ricks. And Lane 7 is Dickinson's Shane Janis. 20 laps for this race. And that first 50 yards, we have our lane 6 and 7 swimmers. That's Alex Ricks of Minot and Shane Janis of Dickinson. Closely behind them are lanes 4 and 5 swimmers. That's Nathan Hill in 4 and Micah Beers of Minot in lane 5. Once again, lane 1 is at the bottom of your screen. Lane 8 is at the top. Our lane 6 swimmer carrying a nice body length lead over the next 3 swimmers as he comes into the 100-yard mark. And that is swimmer Alex Ricks. Alex is a Minot freshman. At 106.28 for his 100 yards, followed by Hill of Wilson at 108.51. Then it was Janis at 108.60. Beers, I missed his time. Then it was Anderson at 114.52. Peterson at 118.61 and Height at 123.72. Ricks continues to lead, although that lead has been cut into a little bit by our lanes 4 and 5 swimmers. So at the next turn, it will be, continues to be Ricks at 146.68. Then it's Beers at Hill at 147.34 and Beers at 147.44. Then it was Janis at 150.31, Anderson at 156.85. Didn't get a time registered for Peterson or Height. Here we go. Here, Peterson touching, Height touching at 2:13.33. We have a new leader in lane 4. That is Wilson's Nathan Hill, followed by Minot's Micah Beers to his top side, I guess. So we'll have Hill at 2:26.64. Followed by Beers at 2:27.66, then Ricks at 2:30.31, Janis at 2:34.09, Anderson at 2:40.47. We'll have Peterson in 1 and Height in 3 coming up on their next turn. Coming into the halfway point here is going to be Nathan Hill of Williston, touching at 3:06.88 at the halfway point, followed by Micah Beers at 3:08.17. You can really get spread out in this 500 as they're swimming 20 laps. Third at the halfway point is Ricks at 3:13.59, followed by Janis at 3:18.15. Then it was Anderson at 3:25.07. Having some issues with that lane 1 touchpad. I haven't seen much for. All right, coming in here, it remains to be Nathan Hill of Wilson, followed by Beers of Minot. Then we will have Ricks of Minot, followed by Janis of Dickinson. Thank you, Mr. Kraler. Have a good evening. Hill continues to lead, followed by Beers of Minot. They're coming up to the 3/4 mark here. You can see the fellows at the end of the pool with their lap counting signs. They're at lap 15. That means 5 to go. We're under 125 yards. Ricks continues in 3rd place, followed by Janis in 4th, and it's Kellen Anderson in 5th. I think we have Peterson in lane 1, and then it's Height in lane 3. 200 yards to go. Micah Beers in 2nd at 5:11.69, just behind Hill of Wilson at 5:07.67. Next time down the pool for Hill, you'll hear the cowbell. He'll have 50 yards to go. Rick still maintains third place, 3.5 seconds ahead of Janice. Here's your cowbell, and that is Nathan Hill making his penultimate turn of this Heat 1 of the 500-yard freestyle. Very nice job by Nathan Hill. Really powering through this fast last 50 yards. He will finish with a time in the 6:20 range. Looks like it will. There we go. We have Hill at 6:19.83. Followed by Micah Beers of Minot with a time of 6:26.55. Next swimmer in should be Alex Ricks and might be Shane Janis out in lane 7. Looks like he's put a nice kick on here at the end. So third place in this first heat is Shane Janis at 6:50.78, followed by Alex Ricks. He'll be coming in here at time of his time to, oh, there it is, 6:59.30. Then in lane 2, we'll have Kellen Anderson at 7:03.91. And we've got Peterson finishing up down in lane 2 at approximately 7:15. Again, his touchpad doesn't seem to be working in lane 2. And our final swimmer here, Jacob Height, in lane 3, touching with a time of 7 minutes 25.60 seconds. Jacob has another 50 yards to go. Great job by Jacob out there. Persevering. He's done this 500 quite a bit throughout the season, and his times continue to drop. Here we go. We have Kellen Anderson finishing up here in lane 3 for Minot in this first heat of the 500-yard freestyle. There we go. Jacob touching with a time of 8 minutes 9.11 seconds, which is a 10-second time cut over his previous time. So wonderful job by Jacob. Let's see, we'll get a look at the board here before we move on to Heat 2 of this 500-yard freestyle. There's your first whistle. Here's your board. Look at those times. Pan back, and this will be Heat 2 of the 500-yard freestyle. Heat 2, Lane 2, Minot's freshman Brian Sherlock. Lane 3 is Minot's freshman Matt Bowen. Lane 4 is Minot sophomore Levi Von Boker. Lane 5 is Minot junior Alex Moe. Lane 6 is Minot's Tyler Hills. And Lane 7 is Minot senior Carter Thomas. Hills also a senior. State qualifying standard for this race is 5:43.41. Matt Bowen has a previous time of 5:45.33, so he'll be looking, hopefully cut a few seconds for him, meet that standard, and Tyler Hills looking to cut about 12 seconds to get into that state qualifying standard. Hills out to that is Von Boker in lane 4. This 500-yard freestyle is brought to you by Premier Chiropractic. They are focused on improving the health of Minot and surrounding areas through the most cutting-edge advances in natural health care today. Dr. Kirk Mason, Dr. Cody Haugen, and Dr. Becky Harry Dowmeries can be found at PremierChiropracticND.com. All right, through 1/4 of the race, it looks like it's going to be Von Boker, followed by Matt Bowen, and closely with him is Alex Moe. We'll get a time here after 6 laps. We've got Von Bokern at 1:32.35, followed by Matt Bowen at 1:34.86, and Alex Moe at 1:34.86, and Matt Bowen at 1:35.00. Then we'll have Carter Thomas at 1:41.84, Tyler Hills 1:42.60, and Brian Sherlock 1:49.42. Through 6 laps, Von Bokern at 2:04.25. Then it will be Alex Moe at 2:08.97. Matt Bowen at 2:09.92. So counting laps for Matt down at the end of the pool is his older brother Josh. He's got a few sets of brothers on this Magician swim team. Tyler Hills at 2:18.91, followed by Carter Thomas at 2:20.87. I did not see Brian Sherlock's last time check. Halfway through, Von Bokern 2:37.79, followed by Alex Moe at 2:43.69, then Matt Bowen at 2:44.58. Next swimmer to the wall will be our lane 6 swimmer, Tyler Hills, with 2:54.92 at the halfway point. Then we'll have our lane 7 swimmer, Carter Thomas, making his turn in 3 minutes, 1.77 seconds at the halfway mark. We'll have our lane 2 swimmer, Brian Sherlock, at 3:11.02. Von Bokern makes his next turn at 3:10.98. Will be Alex Moe making that next turn at 3:18.59. Then Matt Bowen at 3:20.84. Those two gentlemen very close to qualifying for state. Hopefully they can pull each other through. Alex Moe does have a previous state qualifying time. Von Bokern making his turn with a time of 3:44.60. Followed by Moe making his turn right now at 3:54.46. Then will be Matt Bowen at 3:56.51. Matt cutting on to that second place lead just a little bit. 4th place swimmer will be coming in at Tyler Hills out in lane 6 at 4:07.91. Von Bokern looking very, very smooth as he makes his next turn. He's coming up on the 3/4 mark. Von Bokern is out in lane 4. Excuse me, they were just at, is he at 17 laps now? Yep. Levi will be coming in to the cowbell. He's got the fever. Needs more cowbell. There it is. 2 laps to go for Mr. Von Bokern. Be very close to a season best time for Von Bokern here in this 500-yard freestyle. Matt Bowen in lane 3 starting to put the pressure on here once they get that state qualifying time. Just ahead of Alex Moe out in lane 5 now. Here comes Von Bokern finishing with a time of 5:23.65. His season best time by close to 7 seconds. We have Bowen in 3 and Moe in lane 5. Stroke for stroke as they're coming in. It's going to be very close. They're coming in right now touching. It is Matt Bowen with a time of 5:39.53 and Alex Moe at 5:40.23. That is the state qualifying standard for Matt Bowen, a freshman from Minot. His season best time by roughly 6 seconds. Alex Moe puts up his season best time by over a second as well. 4th place swimmer Tyler Hills just finishes up in 5:55.92. Sherlock. We've got our lane 7 swimmer Carter Thomas finishing up here in 6:16.94. Then we'll have Brian Sherlock here in lane 2 coming in for his finish. It's going to be right around that 6:30 mark. He'll be well below that at 6:28.07. So we'll get you a look at the board of this Heat 2 of the 500-yard freestyle. A couple state qualifying times. A new state qualifier in Matt Bowen. That's Von Bokeren at 523.65. You can see the rest of the times there. We have Heat 3 on the blocks. There's the second whistle. We'll pan back. We'll let you know who these swimmers are once they're in the pool. This is the third and final heat of the 500-yard freestyle. State qualifying time standard of 5:43.41. Swimming in lane 3 is Minot's Alex King. Lane 4 is Williston's Adam March. Lane 5 is Dickinson's Mason Beck. Lane 6 is Minot's Ryan Hubbard. And lane 7 is Williston's Hunter Haugen. Once again, this 500-yard freestyle brought to you by Premier Chiropractic, focused on improving the health of the Minot and the surrounding areas through the most cutting-edge advances in natural health care today. Go see Doctors Kirk Mason, Dr. Cody Haugen, and Dr. Becky Perry Domries. Easy for me to say. Or maybe not so easy for me to say. All right, in lane 3, we've got Minot's Alex King coming in at the 100-yard mark with a time of 55.95. He'll be followed by Beck of Dickinson at 58.22, then Hubbard of Minot at 58.33, then it's March of Williston at 103.59, and then Haugen of Williston at 105.79. Next time check is Alex King at 125.88. Then it's Mason Beck at 129.53 and Ryan Hubbard at 130.41. I think we're going to see Beck and Hubbard tighten up here as the race goes on. And we had March of Wilson at 139.53 and Haugen of Wilson at 142.06. Here's the next time check for your leader, Alex King of Minot. He will be at 156.3. That's 200 yards into the race. Then it will be Beck at 201.84 and Hubbard at 203.02. Then it's March at 216.27 and Haugen at 218.33. Next time check for King at the 250-yard mark is 227.40. Splitting into 31s right now for Alex. Then we have Beck at 234.69 and Hubbard at 235.99. Hubbard has trimmed into that lead a little bit. He's now into the legs of Beck next door to him. March at 252.52 and Haugen at 254.46 for their next time check. Now we have King coming back in for his next time check at 258.58. Then we're going to have Beck out in lane 5 at 307.55 and Hubbard in lane 6 at 309.25. Very good split for Beck there. It's back over body length over Hubbard in lane 6. And you must have heard me. Okay, we're going to have March and Haugen making their turn and then followed closely by King with his next time check. So those two gentlemen at 329.29 and 329.72. Then it was King at 330.76. He's coming up on the 3/4 mark, his next turn here at the far end of the pool. He's got Jackson Ranke counting for him. Josh Bowen pulling double duty, counting in this 500-yard freestyle. He's out in lane 6 for Ryan Hubbard. King's next time check is 4:03.66. March and Haugen, their next time checks were 4:05.16 and 4:06.14. Second place swimmer right now is Mason Beck, making his time check at 4:13.49, followed by Hubbard at 4:16.28. Alex King coming in. If he's got the fever, what's the cure? It's more cowbell. There's the cowbell for Alex King. Went 50 yards to go. He's at 4:34.94. He's going to be very close to that 5-minute mark here for Alex, which will put him near the top of the standings for the state in this 500-yard freestyle. Let's take a look at King powering home. Clock is ticking at 5 minutes right now, so he'll be in the mid-5s. Looks like it will be a time of 5:05.56 for Alex King. His previous time was 5:03.42. Very good swim for Alex today. Coming in now, we have Mason Beck out in lane 5 at 5:18.15, followed closely by Hubbard of Minot at 5:20.01. Then we have Hunter Haugen at 5:16.20 on his last time check, and Adam March at 5:19.53 for his last time check. Those two gentlemen are making their final turn and finishing up this final 25 yards of the third heat of the 500-yard freestyle. Very good time for Ryan Hubbard as well. He lowered his season time from 5:22 down to 5:20.01. And Mason Beck cut 4 seconds off his time from a 5:22.15 to a 5:18.15 today. 4 seconds on the nose. Looks like we had March and Haugen finishing up. Haugen at 5:49.10 and March at 5:53.67. We'll get a look at the board for those final times for you for this third and final heat of the 500-yard freestyle. Next event in the pool will be the 200-yard freestyle relay. For the 200-yard freestyle relay, in lane 2, it'll be Dickinson C, Keller, Rude, Piatz, and Peterson. Lane 3 is Minot E, Shabbat, Tyler Sherlock, Samuelson, and Moldenauer. Lane 4 is Minot C, Will Thomas, Matt Bowen, Tyler Hills, and Carter Thomas. Lane 5 is Magicians D, our diver Aiden Stewart, with Lawson Shanklin, Chance Thompson, and Garth Shanklin. Lane 6 will be Minot's F, Jacob Height, Carter Withers, David McConville, and Brian Sherlock. Here's your whistle for Heat 1 of the 200-yard freestyle relay. In the pool, first leg of this 200-yard freestyle relay, Heat 1. In lane 2 is Alexander Keller of Dickinson. Lane 3 is Brandon Shabbat of Minot. Lane 4 is Will Thomas of Minot. Lane 5 is Aiden Stewart of Minot. Lane 6 is Jacob Height of Minot. This is Heat 1, Leg 1 of the 200-yard freestyle relay. 50 yards for each swimmer. Now entering the pool for Minot in lane 4 is Matt Bowen. Entering the pool in lane 5 for Minot is Lawson Shanklin. Lane 3 for Minot is Tyler Sherlock. Lane 6 for Minot is Carter Withers. And lane 2 for Dickinson is Jacob Rude. Coming up on the next exchange, looks like in lane 4 it'll be Tyler Hills entering the pool. There goes Tyler. Next in the pool in lane 5 will be Chance Thompson. Next one to launch in the pool in lane 3 is Briar Samuelson. We're going to have our lane 6 swimmer. That will be David McConville entering the pool. In lane 2, it is Mason Piatz of Dickinson entering the pool. Final exchange for Minot in lane 4. That will be Carter Thomas entering the pool. A lot of these fellows just swam the 500. Hopefully they've had enough time to rest and get back in and rip off a 50. In the pool for Minot in lane 5 is Garth Shanklin. In the pool for Minot in lane 3 is Justin Moldenauer. In lane pool for Dickinson in lane 2 is Hunter Peterson. And in the pool for Minot in lane 6 is Brian Sherlock. Finishing up in lane 4 is Minot C with a team time of 1:46.50. That team is Will Thomas, Matt Bowen, Tyler Hills, and Carter Thomas. Many brothers on this team, but these two Thomases are not brothers. All right, we'll get a look at the final times as soon as Minot here finishes up in lane 6. That is swimmer Brian Sherlock, lane 6. We'll let him finish up, then we'll take a look at the board for these Heat 1 times of the 200-yard freestyle relay. It is Minot C at a time of 1:46.50. Then it is Minot D at 1:53.12. Minot F at 1:58.6. Dickinson C at 2:07.73. And Minot, that was Minot E earlier. This is Minot F at 2:23.28. Getting ready on the blocks after the relay teams exchange places. Lane 2 will be Dickinson B, Haig, Rothstein, Rude, and Kogel. Lane 3 is Minot A, Hubbard, Lays, Prestwich, and Ranke. Lane 4 is Williston A, Kringen, Jones, Ekblad, Lundby, and Jorgensen. Lane 5, Dickinson A, Dawson Wilson, Taven Wilson, Trent Irwin, and Mason Beck. Lane 6 is Minot B, Sportout, Trevor Ricks, Mo, and Carter Larson. And lane 7 is Williston B. Shug, Bjerknes, Haugen, and Babcock. First swimmers are in the pool. In lane 2, that's David Haig of Dickinson. Lane 3 is Hubbard of Minot. Lane 4 is Kringen of Williston. Lane 5 is Dawson Wilson of Dickinson. Lane 6 is Swartout of Minot. And lane 7 is Shug of Williston. Everybody's close in, making the exchange now into the pool. In lane 4, it's Tater Jones of Williston. Lane 3 is Lays of Minot. Lane 5 is Taven Wilson of Dickinson. Lane 6 is Minot's Trevor Ricks. Lane 7 is Williston's Ryder Bjerknes. And lane 2 is Dickinson's Aiden Rothstein. All right, looks like we're going to have Dickinson coming in on this next exchange. That will, in lane 5, that will be Trent Irwin. For Williston is Ekblad Lundby in lane 4, and lane 3 is Minot's Prestwich. Lane 2 is Dickinson's Rude. Lane 6 is Minot's Mo, and lane 7 is Williston's Haugen. Coming in for this last leg, making the exchange, it will be Dickinson first. That will be Mason Beck into the pool, followed closely by Jorgensen of Williston and Ranke of Minot. Mason Beck powering through. This 50 is his specialty. We did see him swim the longer races today. Finishing up this 200 free relay, it will be Dickinson, Team A, at 1:37.55, followed by... we didn't get a time for Dickinson. That was Williston's time at 1:37.55. Then Minot's time at 1:37.64. We'll let these last swimmers touch the wall, and we'll get you up on the board for those final times. Unofficially, of course, the touchpad for Dickinson in lane 5 did not work. They will be going to a backup time. Those will be posted. They just posted it now at 1:35.97 for Dickinson A, followed by Williston A at 1:37.55. Closely behind them was Minot A at 1:37.64. Then it was Minot B at 1:42.75, followed by Dickinson B at 1:51.95, and Williston B at 1:52.27. Winning team members of that winning relay team from Dickinson are Dawson Wilson, Taven Wilson, Trent Irwin, and Mason Beck. 3 events to go. This will be the 100-yard backstroke. Heat 1 of 3 swimmers. In lane 3 is Dickinson's Elliot Mertz. Lane 4 is Dick Williston's Ryder Bjerknes. And lane 5 is Minot's Logan Greenlee. Your 100-yard backstroke is brought to you by Minot's Finest Collision Center. They like to stick to fixing cars. Maybe we can get Corey Almy in the pool here. We've seen him on his commercials on the ice, at the bowling alley, the golf course, the baseball diamond, the hockey rink. Once again, heat 1 of 3 for the 100-yard backstroke, brought to you by Minot's Finest Collision Center. Finishing up heat 1 of the 100-yard backstroke. Everybody's on their final 25 yards. Out in lane 6, that is Logan Greenlee of Minot. Finishing up is Logan Greenlee at 129.69. Next up will be our lane 3 swimmer Elliot Mertz of Dickinson at 137.12. Then it's Ryder Bjorkness of Williston at 139.18. Here's a quick look at the board for those fellas. Moving on to heat 2 of the 100-yard backstroke. Lane 2 is Minot's Alex Ricks. Lane 3, Jamison Donahoe of Minot. Lane 4 is Minot's Caden Dodds. Lane 5 is Adam March of Williston. Lane 6, Minot's Gannon Cowper. And Lane 7 from Dickinson, Casey Toohey. This is heat 2 of the 100-yard backstroke. Lane 2, Alex Ricks. Lane 3, Jamison Donahoe. Lane 4, Caden Dodds. Lane 5, Adam March. Lane 6, Gannon Cowper. And Lane 7, Casey Toohey. Once again, this backstroke is brought to you by Minot's Finest Collision Center. In lane 4, that's Caden Dodds making the halfway turn in 31.25, followed by Donahoe at 32.96. Then it's Cowper at 33.53, Toohey at 33.65, March at 33.97, and Alex Ricks at 38.26. State qualifying standard for this race is 106.50. Mr. Dodds is going to be very close to that time, if not under, as he finishes up in lane 4 with a time of 105.11. That is a state qualifying time for Caden Dodds. Second place was Gannon Cowper at 108.92, then Casey Toohey of Dickinson at 109.26. Then we'll have Donahoe of Minot at 109.44. Then it's March of Williston at 109.60 and Ricks of Minot at 120.01. Coming up is our third and final heat of this Minot's Finest Collision Center 100-yard backstroke. In lane 3 will be Minot's Dominic Yoder. Lane 4 is Williston's Tyler Jorgensen. Lane 5 is Dickinson's Trent Irwin. Lane 6 is Minot's Kalen Hill. And lane 7 is Williston's Caleb Osborne. The backstrokers are in the pool. And there they go. Pool record for this event set in 2017 by Minot's Gerald Brown at 52.92. Yoder with a very healthy lead coming into the halfway point. He's going to be touching at 26.53, followed by Hill at 30.21. Then it's Jorgensen at 31.18, Osborne at 31.84, and Irwin at 34.22. Yoder makes his final turn around the 41-second mark. Dominic so far with a season best time of 53.76. Today's time is 54.55. A nice swim by Dominic Yoder of Minot in the backstroke. It will be followed by Kalen Hill at 101.95. Then Tyler Jorgensen of Williston at 102.95. Caleb Osborne of Williston at 107.27. Trent Irwin of Dickinson at 110.43. Here's a look at the final times of Heat 3 of the 100-yard backstroke. There's your whistle for our final individual event of the day. Event 13, the 100-yard breaststroke. We will have 3 heats of the breaststroke. State qualifying standard is 111.98. In lane 2 is Minot's David McConville. In lane 3 is Minot's Maroney Hale. Lane 4 is Minot's Chance Thompson. Lane 5 from Minot is Briar Samuelson. Lane 6 is Dickinson's Jacob Rude. And lane 7 is Dickinson's Taven Wilson. This 100-yard breaststroke brought to you by the Western Insurance Agency. At the halfway point, it's Taven Wilson of Dickinson at 35.23, followed by Samuelson of Minot at 40.90. Then Maroney Hale of Minot at 41.11. Then Chance Thompson of Minot at 42.09. Rude of Dickinson at 49.27. And McConville of Minot at 57.69. The swimmers making their final turn and heading home for that final 25 yards. Slight lead here from Maroney Hale. Well, it's too close to call. Hale in lane 3 and Samuelson in lane 5. Looks like Samuelson has maybe got about a hand length over him right now. Out in lane 6. Looks like we will have our Heat 1 winner being Taven Wilson, of Dickinson at 115.23. I'm sorry I missed that. Then we have Samuelson at 126.89, Hale at 128.39, and Thompson at 130.64. Then we'll have Rude touching in at 143.61, and McConville finishing up in lane 2. There's McConville finishing up. McConville's final time was 2:04.49. Once again, we had Wilson at 1:15.23. You can see the rest of the times on the board. Heat 2 up on the blocks. Second whistle. Heat 2, the 100-yard breaststroke. Lane 2, Minot's Micah Beers. Lane 3, Dickinson's David Haig. Lane 4, Minot's Griffin Osborne. Lane 5, Minot's Peyton Barch. Lane 6 is Dickinson's Asher Ellerkamp. And lane 7 is Dickinson's Jackson Metcalf. Osborne at the halfway point of 31.36. Then it's Barch at 34.42. Haig, 37.75. Metcalf, 38.36. Ellerkamp, 38.39. And Beers, 39.06. Into the final 25 yards. In lane 4 is Griffin Osborne of Minot. There's Griffin Osborne touching in 108.65. That is a season just off his season best of 108.12. Then we'll have Barch touching at 116.56. Coming in next will be Haig at 121.19, followed by Metcalf 122.02, Ellerkamp 122.55, and Beers at 125.63. There's your final times of the second heat of this 100-yard breaststroke. Third and final heat is at the blocks. In lane 2 will be Dickinson's John Rude. Lane 3 is Minot's Oliver Rungen. Lane 4 is Williston's Colden Kringen. Lane 5 is Dickinson's Zachary Kogel. Lane 6 is Minot's Logan Hill. And lane 7 will be Williston's Hunter Hart. It's our last individual race of the day. Then we'll move on to the 400-yard freestyle relay, where we will have 2 heats. Heat 3, 100-yard breaststroke on the blocks. Once again, lane 2, John Root of Dickinson. Lane 3, Oliver Rungen of Minot. Lane 4, Kringen of Williston. Lane 5, Zachary Kogel of Dickinson. Lane 6 is Logan Hill of Minot. And lane 7, Hunter Hart of Williston. Look for Kringen and Rungen to battle here during this race. Very good start by Paradorn. That's Rungen in lane 3, Kringen in lane 4. At the halfway point, it is Rungen at 29.89 and Kringen at 30.25. Then we have Logan Hill at 31.81, Hunter Hart at 33.78, Kogel at 35 even, and Rude at 37.97. Into the final turn, Rungen still has about a half body length lead over Kringen. We'll let these two swimmers bring us home for this 100-yard breaststroke. There you see them touching. Final time, Oliver Rungen at 103.79, followed by Colden Kringen at 104.65. Then it's Logan Hill at 108.34. Hunter Hart at 113.28. Zach Kogel at 116.20. And John Rood at 120.36. There's a look at the board for this third heat of the 100-yard breaststroke. 103.79 for Minot's Oliver Rungen. Now moving on to our final event of the day, the 400-yard freestyle relay. We will have 2 heats. In Heat 1 is Minot H, Hale, Greenlee, Height, and Peterson. Lane 2 is Minot G, Shabbat, Moldenauer, Tyler Sherlock, and Alex Ricks. Lane 3 is Minot E, Swartout, Trevor Ricks, Tyler Hills, and Matt Bowen. Lane 4 is Magician C, Kalen Hill, Tristan Lays, Logan Hill, and Griffin Osborne. Lane 5, Magicians D, Will Thomas, Caden Dodds, Carter Thomas, Alex Moe. Lane 6, Magicians F, Jamison Donahoe, Micah Beers, Kellen Anderson, and Ganna Cowper. And Lane 7, Dickinson C, Shane Janis, Elliot Mertz, Mason Piatz, and Asher Ellekamp. That is a team of all 7th graders for Dickinson out in Lane 7. Here is your first heat of the 400-yard freestyle relay. Swimmers in the pool. In lane 1 is Hale of Minot. 2 is Shabbat of Minot. 3 is Swartout of Minot. 4, Kalen Hill of Minot. Lane 5, Will Thomas of Minot. Lane 6, Donahoe of Minot. And lane 7, Janis of Dickinson. Looks like our team out in lane 5. That's Magicians D. That's Will Thomas at the halfway point through this first leg at 26.78, followed by closely by some Minot teams. It's going to be too hard to pick out who's in the pool, who's not in the pool. We'll give you some time checks as they come in here. We're going to come up in our first exchange. Looks like it's going to be the 3 Minot teams in lane 5, 4, and 3. Those are swimmers Thomas, Hill, and Swartout making the exchange. Now in the pool, first in lane 5 is Caden Dodds. In lane 4 is Tristan Lays. In lane 3 is Trevor Ricks. They are stroke for stroke as they head down in their second leg of this 400-yard freestyle relay. In the pool in lane 2 for Minot is Justin Moldenauer. In lane 6 for Minot is Micah Beers. In lane 7 for Dickinson is Elliot Mertz. Lane 1 for Minot is Logan Greenlee. Lanes 3, 4, and 5, stroke for stroke, just a slight edge now in lane 4. That is Tristan Lays. To the bottom of Tristan is Trevor Ricks, and to the top is Caden Dodds. Those three swimmers coming in to make this next exchange. Entering the pool in lane 4 from Minot will be Logan Hill. In lane 3 from Minot is Tyler Hills. In lane 5 from Minot is Carter Thomas. So we have Hill and Hills in lane 3, Hill in lane 4. Logan's older brother Kalen swam the opening leg for that relay team as well. In the pool now for lane 6 Magicians is Kellen Anderson. Lane 7 for Dickinson is Mason Piatz. Lane 1 for Minot is Jacob Height. And lane 2 for Minot is Tyler Sherlock. All right, we've got Logan Hill in lane 4, about a body length now over Tyler Hills in lane 3. Then it's about another body length and a half back in lane 5 for Carter Thomas. Making this final exchange for Minot in lane 4. Now swimming is Griffin Osborne. In lane 3 for Minot is Matt Bowen. Lane 5 for Minot is Alex Moe. Next exchange taking place will be in lane 6. That will be Minot swimmer Gannon Cowper. Next exchange after that will be Minot swimmer Alex Ricks in lane 2. And then our lane 7 swimmer will be Asher Ellerkamp from Dickinson. All right, in lane 4, there's your leader of the race. For Magician C, that is Griffin Osborne making his final turn. Very close behind in lane 3 is Matt Bowen. Very nice turn from Matt Bowen. He is going to overtake Griffin Osborne. He will lead Magicians E to this victory in Heat 1. Finishing up in lane 5 from Minot is Alex Moe. In the pool now, we've got our lane 6 swimmer, that is Gannon Cowper making his final turn home. Lane 2 is Alex Ricks. He's coming up on his final turn. Luke Peterson in lane 1 for Minot. Making their penultimate turn out in lane 7 for Dickinson is Asher Ellerkamp. All right, touching in 4th was Minot F at 4:23.69. Then in 5th was Minot G at 4:38.32. And then we're going to have Dickinson out in lane 7. The Dickinson C touching in at 4:54.05. Now down in lane 1. Tough to see behind that wall of swimmers standing there on the edge of the pool. But that will be Minot Team H at 5:02.24. We'll get you a look at the board as we see that Minot Team E members are Andrew Swartout, Trevor Ricks, Tyler Hills, and Matt Bowen. This will take us to our final event of the day, Heat 2 for the 400-yard freestyle relay. 400-yard freestyle relay brought to you by Pro Style Production DJ Services. They make your event pro style. Ask about their money-back guarantee. That's prostyleproduction.com. Lane 2 with the second heat will be Dickinson B, Aiden Rothstein, Hunter Peterson, Jackson Metcalf, and Caden Barth. Lane 3 will be Magicians A, Grant Schaefer, Alex King, Josh Bowen, Dominic Yoder. Lane 4 is Williston, Caleb Osborne, Adam March, Isaiah Shug, Ethan Babcock. Lane 5, Dickinson A, Mason Beck, Casey Toohey, Dawson Wilson, Taven Wilson. Lane 6, Magicians B, Von Boker and Barch, Hubbard, and Rungen. Lane 7, Coyote B, Hill, Haugen, Hart, and Jones. This is your final race of the day. This is the 400-yard freestyle relay, Heat 2. That's Schaefer in lane 3, out to a quick start. Pool record for this event is 3:19.06, set in 2003 by a Magicians team. Schaefer makes his 50-yard turn in 23:29, followed by Beck at 25:82. Closely behind Beck out in lane. Let's see. A little too confusing trying to figure out who's where in this race. We have Schaefer coming in for his first exchange. That'll be Alex King of Minot into the pool. Schaefer with a time of 49:05 for his 100-yard split. King in the pool in lane 3 for Minot. Now in the pool across the board in lane 2 for Dickinson will be Hunter Peterson. Lane 4 for Wilson is Adam March. Lane 5 for Dickinson, Casey Toohey. Lane 6 for Minot, Peyton Barch. And lane 7 for Williston is Hunter Haugen. King powering through that first half of his split in 23.65 for a team time of 1:12.70. Possible shot at a pool record here for this squad. See how things break out. Alex King is certainly doing his part. He comes in for his next exchange. Into the pool now will be Minot's Josh Bowen. There goes Bowen into the pool in lane 3. A nice 26-27 split for King for a team time of 1:38.97. Bowen powering through his first lap of his 4 laps for this third leg of the 400-yard freestyle. Now in the pool in the other lanes. In lane 2 for Dickinson is Jackson Metcalf. In lane 4 for Wilson is Isaiah Shug. Lane 5 for Dickinson is Dawson Wilson. Lane 6 for Minot is Ryan Hubbard. And in lane 7 for Wilson is Hunter Hart. A 30.6850 split. Excuse me, 24:09.50 split for Bowen. Team time of 2:06. Excuse me, 2:03.06. Our third swimmers now all in the pool. Bowen making his final turn of his leg, bringing home. We will have Dominic Yoder for the final leg for Minot in lane 3. He's entering the pool now. He's getting cheered on by his teammates, and he's not out the block yet. There goes Dominic. 2:29.91 for Minot. As I go through here, there's Dominic Yoder finishing his first 25 yards, making the turn. Again, they are looking at the 3:19.06 pool record as a possible goal for them here today. Yoder coming in the first half of his race with a time of 23:02 for a team time of 2:52.93. They're going to need a fairly quick last split here for Dominic. He's making the turn at 3:06. He's got about 13 seconds to get there. Crowd is on its feet cheering him on. Here comes Yoder in. Ticking away. Dominic Yoder touching with a team time of 3:18.15. That is a new pool record for this Minot High School team at the Minot High School pool. The crowd recognizes. Now finishing up in lane 5 for Dickinson. We will have our second place team with a time of 3:36.18. Then it's Minot B at 3:37.80. Finishing up in lane 4 is Williston with a time of 3:53.28. We've got our lane 7 swimmer from Williston out finishing up, and our lane 2 swimmer from Dickinson finishing up as well. Out in lane 7, that's a 4:10.19 for Williston B. Finishing up in lane 2 for Dickinson will be 4:18.14. Here's the times of that final heat. You can see that winning time for Minot at 3:18.15. A new pool record in this very renowned program in North Dakota swimming. Let's see if I can get here. There's the old record of 3:19.06. Set in 2003 by Ron Hansen, Brian Miller, Max Gruhl, and Matt Lowe. So when you come to the pool next year, you will see a new time of 3:18.15 with the names of Grant Schaefer, Alex King, Josh Bowen, and Dominic Yoder. That brings us to the end of our live stream broadcast of this Minot triple duel between Williston, Dickinson, and Minot. Some great performances by all the teams today. All the teams will be back in the pool on Saturday, February 27th at the WDA Championships set at the Bismarck Aquatic Center. I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in to this PSP Network live stream broadcast of Minot High Swimming. You can tune in to the other PSP channel on YouTube tonight to watch the Minot High boys play some hockey. And once again, thank you for joining us all season long on the PSP Network for Minot High boys swimming. This is Eric Schaefer saying good night, stay warm, have a safe ride home.